I'm Kevin Devine and this is Devine Encounters, and the gentleman here was the winner of the coveted Foster's Comedy Award at the 2011 Edinburgh Festival. Adam, how are you doing? I've managed to catch you just going into your show tonight.
Yeah, show tonight.
So, how is Bring the Head of Adam Riches going? It's
going really well, thanks. Yeah. It's a long run. It's a 5-week run, which is longer than Edinburgh was in the beginning. So it's a bit of an epic marathon to get it through. But so far, like a week and a half in, houses have been good, reviews have been good. So yeah, I'm still there. Voice is wobbling a little bit, but I'm still there.
But you talked a couple of things. You talked to Edinburgh, you talked reviews.
Yeah.
You're a man that's not managed, or not only managed to win over the public, but the 5-star reviews you're getting from the critics and things. And of course, the Foster's Comedy Award this year.
No, that's terrific.
Yeah. How did that all feel during the time of getting the nomination and trying to perform? And
it was. I mean, it's like a sideshow to what you're doing, because I didn't go up there with any real strong ambitions other than just to get a really good show together and then just get some good reviews, hopefully, and keep the reputation that I'd built over previous Edinburghs intact. But then it was very, very early on that you just got wind that this was a slightly different year. The reviews were really strong. The houses were filling up, right from the word go. And so then you start to get a little bit distracted by it, and you start to think, oh, right, okay, this is good. And because I do all my own kind of like booking in and promotion, all that stuff, I could see when the important people were coming in, and you could see them coming in their numbers, and you could see them coming in more regularly. And so you think, oh, right, okay, this is good. So it was a great feeling, obviously, when you get the nomination and then ultimately when you win it. And since then it's opened up a lot of doors. But as you're doing it, it is kind of like a surreal, well, I'm just doing the show, I'm just, concentrating on this. But it was a great feeling.
And see, when they were in, because your show, you've been described as fearless. And not only that, some of the audience are saying, right, I don't want to be in the front 2 rows, because there's so much participation.
Yeah, there is,
Were you ever tempted to go, there's a critic in I'm going to get them involved?
Well, they're a bit savvier, and over the years, there's a few of them that I knew the look of. And over the years, I have pulled them up blindly without knowing, and done okay by it. They haven't really punished me that much for it. But this year, they were clever. They sat way back. They knew the type of stuff that it was going to be. In terms of other people, producers or directors, or you get the industry kind of sniffing around as well. I didn't know any of them, so they were fair game as well. And it helps. It helps if I kind of know. If I knew you were coming in to see the show, I'd probably give you a wide berth, because we've got a different relationship. I'd know you, I've met you, I've spoken to you, so it's not going to have that same kind of frisson on stage. So it's better that I don't know anyone at all. And to combat the front row thing here, I've started picking from the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, anywhere, because you just don't want that kind of. You want everyone to be worried.
There's no hiding place.
There's no good seat in the show at all.
And what kind of things? Because it's quite anarchic, and you actually broke your leg during one of your performances.
That was on stage. We were having a fake fight, me and my brother, and he came from the audience, and he was set up like a stooge in the show, a complaining audience member, and so we had a mock fight, and then about a week into the festival, 10 days in, he slipped, broke my leg, and because of the design of him coming from the audience still felt it was part of the show, so he thought it was a goof or a stooge thing. So it was harder to get the show stopped, get the ambulance in and get oxygen and morphine, which you wouldn't have thought it would have been that hard to get such, under-the-counter prescription drugs in Edinburgh. You'd have thought it would have been easy, but it was harder to get them along. But from that point, it was actually quite a good moment, because it just gave me that fearless edge of, oh, what the hell worse could happen? I've had crap festivals. If this is the worst that can happen, then just, go for it with the material.
And I'm sure there were still some Americans there going, my God, that ambulance is so realistic.
Yeah.
And,
absolutely, yeah. And they were just, I mean, it was a case, I've never acted in the critics' eyes better than I have with a bone piercing through my calf.
Oh God, and the show must go on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I had to have the operation. I was back on stage 4 days later. I had to readjust the show for me being in a wheelchair, and an interesting thing was I realised that the show wasn't written well enough. But when you took my performance out of it, when you took my physicality out of it, the show was weaker in places. So I then started looking more at the writing and going, right, okay, I need to make sure that if I'm on a drip, unconscious in a coma, this show's still going to work. The lines are still good if they're read out on a computer screen.
Sure.
So but it was a a horrible festival, but actually had a silver lining to it, I think.
And you're in here now.
Yeah.
You've got a run till, what is it, March
March 17th.
March the 17th.
Yeah.
And do you find that the London audiences are a bit different from the festival audiences?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. I think, like in Edinburgh, you're one of maybe 4 or 5 shows that people are going to see. There's a festival atmosphere, so people are more readily up for the rough and tumble. They forgive a lot more with the costumes, the poor lighting, and the lack of any kind of air conditioning in there. So when you come here and the theatre's neat, ordered, and has working toilets, then you're kind of you're in a situation where the work is then judged differently. And certainly with the audience's mindset of this being a night out, as opposed to their first or third show they might see, then you do get a different kind of thing. But the show's very silly, and I think silly's universal, and when you do break the room in there, in a big room like that, it's a terrific atmosphere, and it feels exactly the same as Edinburgh. So once you got them on site, they're harder to get maybe, but once you got them, they're there for the taking.
And can we still look forward to some of the characters that you normally do, and the Daniel Day-Lewis's?
Yeah, I think like I mean I've done five solo shows now with like probably about 30 odd characters in them, and for last year it was just like picking the right characters for the right hour. But certainly, yeah, like the characters that are in this, some will go on and I'll do more stuff with, and some were just for this show and will just fade away. So, yeah, I'll be looking to evolve like projects like with solo characters and then multi-characters as well. So it's there's a lot coming out.
And when you're doing that, when you're actually looking for new material, are you looking specifically in different areas that you're drawn to, or is it a person you're drawn to?
I suppose it's whatever catches fire in your mind. Like there's definitely bits of people that I've known in certain characters that are exaggerated. Then there's definitely a lot of filmic influences in the stuff that I've done. Those type of alpha male characters that are ripe for kind of pricking the pomposity of. And then occasionally, there'll be like an interviewer that you meet on the street from Scotland who you just think, that could be a great character. Somewhere down
I like the way you did that.
Yeah,
I like the way you did that. And you actually mentioned, just before we chatted here, you mentioned you spent a lot of time in Glasgow.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, my family, my dad used to run on Sauchiehall Street. There used to be an old Bernie Inn.
You actually said it right.
Oh yeah, Sauchiehall.
Yeah.
Well, I used to have a thick Glaswegian accent when I was like 4 or 5. Not many words, but I had the thick accent. And I used to go and I used to do. There's I think it's a Robbie Burns poem called "The Bernie's Cuddledoona Nicht," and that was. I used to recite that.
We're not worthy. Yeah.
I couldn't do it now, but and my accent's probably gone now. But that was. I used to love living up there, albeit as a
your
toddler.
Dad was working in the Bernie Inn.
Yeah, he was the manager. Yeah, an English manager in a Glaswegian Bernie Inn.
Oh.
Yeah, so he kind of prepared me for a thick skin in terms of the entertainment industry, I think, because of the crap that he must have taken.
I'm sure actually would probably be a good grounding for people.
Yeah.
And on the back of the show, have you got TV projects in the pipeline?
Yeah, a few things coming through. Yeah, I mean that's one of the great Phillips of the award, is that it opens up doors that if anyone can get them slammed in the face again, it's me. But doors that wouldn't be open before. People want to hear ideas now and are more readily open to hearing what I've got to maybe want to develop. So TV and radio and things like that, yeah, definitely. But I'll always keep my foot in the live stuff as well, because it's the greatest way to get better, as a performer and as a writer. It's quick and it's immediate. Like I can find out there and then whether something's got anything. And so I'll always use that as a tool for other medias to practice stuff.
And finally, if somebody can't get along here, if they're maybe up in Glasgow and they can't get down for this show, how do they find out about you online?
I'm doing a tour actually, just of a few places around England with the Invisible Dot, which is a production company down here. So I'm doing a handful of shows there. But other than that, it's I don't have a website. I'm completely disorganised in that regard. So I think it's just Google and see where the nearest maybe hospital is that's just taken in a reckless actor, or see where the chaos has caused. Yeah, and that's where I'll be. I'll be close to that.
Well, I'm glad the leg's healed.
Thank you.
It's fabulous you've won that award, and I wish you all the best with this run. It's been a pleasure.
You coming along? You gonna front row it?
Well, I don't know about the front row, but actually that might be quite fun.
Yeah, go for it. Go on, live a little. Lay your hair down.
2 broken legs coming up soon.